to another month, which means it is time to go back and expose my letterboxd viewing for the month of March. And I do mean exposed because if I counted right, I watched 55 movies this past month, which is kind of intense. Like, that's a lot. Even for me, that is a lot. I don't know what to say. I will say I am gonna try to keep things brief and succinct and to the point, which can be very difficult for me when I'm talking about movies, especially ones I like a lot. And maybe I'll gloss over the ones that aren't as horror oriented, but I mean, we'll see where it goes. We're running out of time. Enough chit chat. The first movie that I watched this month was Ma. I really like Ma. I think it's a very fun movie. I saw this movie in theaters. I paid good money for this. It's on HBO Max. If you don't know, Ma is about Octavia Spencer, who plays a woman that buys teenagers alcohol. It is so fun. I don't think a lot of people like it. I just think they're watching it wrong. Like, I get it. Is the writing good? No. But is it incredibly fun with one of the best movie soundtracks? Yeah. Do you remember? Yeah, just if you haven't watched Ma, give it a chance. And the next movie I watched was The Lost Boys, which was actually really interesting because I watched this movie for the first time sometime over the summer in 2020, and I was just kind of like neutral on it. I didn't not like it, but I wasn't crazy about it. But this time, I had such a good time watching it, and I was listening to that soundtrack for like weeks after. I don't know what was different, but I had a really, really good time with it. It just felt really cozy, and I love the aesthetic of the Lost Boys themselves. I just think it is so cool, so fun, and I'm always happy to see a young Kiefer Sutherland. Okay, already not horror, but I watched Bo Burnham's Make Happy, which was actually because I was editing my February video, and I've been talking about Bo Burnham, and I had to watch Make Happy. I think it's my favorite of his specials. It's great. Go watch it. And then that night I watched Nomadland, which I'm sure everyone has heard of by now. It's probably gonna win 100 Oscars. Good for her. Her being Nomadland. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really beautiful. I feel like Frances McDormand was engineered in a lab to play exactly this role. And it makes me wish I didn't care about things so much that I could go and live in a van, but there's so much bullshit around me that I need to be happy, so I could not cut it with the nomad lifestyle. The next movie I watched was The Taking of Deborah Logan, which is a movie that I know people love, and I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I just didn't love it as much as everyone else talking about it made me think I was gonna like it. If you don't know, The Taking of Deborah Logan is a found footage horror movie about a documentary crew documenting a woman's sort of descent into Alzheimer's. And at the beginning, I was really worried it was going to be super insensitive, but it actually isn't at all. It's very thoughtful and well done. And it is really scary and cool. It's just, I don't know, it was fine. It was fine. Moving on. And then that night, I watched The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it is remarkable, it's incredible, it's beautiful, show-stopping, groundbreaking. And every time I watch it, I just find something new to love about it. I think there's so many layers to this movie, so many more layers than a lot of people give it credit for, I think. And also, it's terrifying. This has to be like the 10th time I've watched this movie, and I was getting scared. I felt really afraid. Anyway, Texas Chainsaw, 5 stars. Perfect movie. Oh, this was very exciting. Then I watched the It miniseries, which I love. You can't see my shirt. Hold on. Which I love. I love the It miniseries. I love the It miniseries. It was the first horror thing I ever watched at far too young of an age and turned me into the person I am today. It is my favorite movie, book, story, miniseries, property. It's my favorite. I love it. And yeah, it's a made-for-TV Stephen King movie from the year 1990. So is it good? Sometimes? No! But it's perfect and I love it. Thank you. Goodbye. Just kidding. There's like 100 movies left. Okay, and then I watched Lucky, which I had a lot of experiences like this month where everyone was hyping up a movie so hard and they loved it so much and I was like, oh yes, here we go, gonna watch a movie I love a lot. And I did not like it. I think it's a very good movie. But I was just like, oh, okay. Which is probably my own fault for being online so much that all I do is read people talking about movies. So She did it to herself. But Lucky is a very cool movie about this self-help author. I don't really want to give anything away, so I don't know what else to say, but she has to fight off an attacker and also convince people in her life that she is being attacked by someone. And it's so frustrating because to us, the audience, we see what she sees, so it is so obvious to us, like, yeah, this is happening to her every night. But it's the struggle of her having to convince people that this is happening to her. Very frustrating, very well done. Good movie. Go watch it. It's on Shudder. And then that night, I watched the Animal Crossing movie. I love Animal Crossing. It was very sweet. It was very cute. Made me smile. If you like Animal Crossing, I recommend it. In an abrupt change of tone, the next movie I watched was Ken Russell's The Devils. If you aren't familiar with The Devils, it's about this priest in the 17th century who basically gets accused of being possessed by demons by this nun who's really pissed off at him. The Devils is wild. It is a wild movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't really know what else to say about it other than if that sounds like it's something up your alley, you should absolutely watch it. You're probably gonna love it. It's a little bit mind-blowing. The next movie I watched was Revenge, which I just did a whole video on. You can hear me talk about how much I loved that movie. But yeah, obviously I recommend it. I love Revenge. Okay, and then not horror, but I feel like kind of horror adjacent. I watched Drop Dead Gorgeous, which is a movie that I really love. I don't know why, I feel embarrassed. It's like, yeah, it's a tacky movie, and so much of it is so tasteless when you watch it today. Like, really not okay stuff. I just have really fond memories of watching this as like a preteen adolescent and just having this moment of like, girls can be funny, but it's hilarious, it's iconic. One of the best Denise Richards performances of all time, of which there are several. It's incredibly fun. If you haven't heard of it, it's about this small town in Minnesota and all the girls are competing in this beauty pageant until they all start dying in very mysterious ways, and there's some foul play afoot. I recommend it. Don't get mad at me if it offends you. I know. I promise I know. Okay, also not horror at all. Well, maybe. I watched Judas and the Black Messiah, which was great. I'm trying to knock off all of the Best Picture nominees. I have The Father and Mank left, and I don't know, how the hell am I ever going to see The Father? I'm not going to movie theaters. I'm not vaccinated. Anyway, Judas and the Black Messiah, incredible performances from Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya. That's a horror connection there in Get Out. Hey, I'm bringing it back. I won't talk too much about it, but it's about Frank Hampton, who was the leader of the Black Panthers in Chicago, which is where I live. And it's about him and this other man who infiltrates the Black Panther Party through the FBI to sort of be their informant, and all the places that goes. It's very good. Okay, then I watched Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, which just recently dropped on Shudder. Holy moly, do I recommend watching this movie and knowing nothing about it. If you've never seen it, never heard of it, just go to Shudder and watch it right now. It's out of control. I don't even really want to say what it's about, because anything I say will give away an incredible nugget of discovery you could have on your own. But I'll spoil it a little bit just to show you what is one of the most incredible opening scenes of all time, of all of cinema. Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. Go watch it. All right, the next thing I watched was Compliance, and I still don't know if I even liked this movie or not because it just made me feel so gross. And I feel like that has to be good, but also I don't know if I liked that. So Compliance is about a real life string of crimes that happened across America in, I think, the early 2000s, where someone would call the manager of like a fast food restaurant or a grocery store, call the manager and tell them that he was the police and that one of the employees of the facility had been caught stealing from a customer and that they had to bring her into the back room for further investigation. But then he'd be like, oh, I'm so very busy at the police station, I can't come down there and check her myself, you need to strip search her. And that alone is chilling enough. But naturally things got worse from there. And this man, who was not a police officer, would instruct the manager or whoever he could get on the phone to do all sorts of horrible things. And this is basically a movie dramatizing one of those situations. I believe the situation that actually got someone arrested. Yeah, it's really icky. It's really gross. I felt really bad for like a long time after. Ann Dowd is in it though, and she's very good. So there's that. Moving right along, I watched Cirque du Freak the Vampire's Assistant. Cirque du Freak is a series of books that I enjoyed so much when I was in middle school. And then this movie came out and it like glommed the first 3 books together, kind of like what the series of Unfortunate Events movie did. It glommed those first 3 books together. John C. Reilly played the vampire. Oh man, it didn't go well. There's so many famous people in this movie. Hold on. John C. Reilly, Josh Hutcherson, Salma Hayek, Michael Severus, who else? Ken Watanabe, Willem Dafoe, I forgot. Oh boy, is he ever. Kristen Schaal, Jane Krakowski. This movie, it's bad. It's about a young boy who becomes a vampire's assistant. And really, nothing else happens in the movie, I gotta say. It's on Netflix. I don't know, cut the cameras. Then I watched Gone Girl. I think I may have kind of missed the boat on Gone Girl, given it came out 7 years ago now, so perhaps I should have caught up on the hype sooner. But it's very good. For anyone who hasn't heard of Gone Girl, it's about a man whose wife goes missing, and other stuff happens. If you haven't seen Gone Girl, I don't want to give anything away because I knew a lot of the big twists going into it, and I can only imagine if I hadn't have known. Oh, I would go feral. I'd be rioting. And I did have a couple moments like that. It's a very exciting movie. I felt some kind of disconnect, like scrolling through Letterboxd, and every review I saw, like every review being 4.5 or 5 stars. I was like, is my brain broken? What's wrong with me? But there are just some things in this movie that are totally whack. Like there's these weird transitions and like weird choices get made. It's also really long. I think it's over 2.5 hours. How long is it? Yeah, 149 minutes. Yeah, it's long. It doesn't need to be so long. Why is it so long? But this is like hot debate for 7 years ago, so I'm behind the times. Then I watched Tourist Trap. I am a writer at Nightmare on Film Street, and we have like Fiend Club movie nights every now and then, and we all watch Tourist Trap together, which is a bananas movie. If you haven't seen it, it's about a group of teens on a road trip on vacation, and they stop at a tourist trap. It's like a wax museum type thing. Although, is it really a wax museum? Because it's just full of mannequins. Are mannequins wax figures? It's a mannequin museum. And, you know, scary happenings ensue. It's very fun, very cheesy, very 80s. If you like that, you'll like this. Very 80s, she says, about a movie made in 1979. What do I know? And then I watched E.T. I don't need to say what E.T. is about. I don't need to explain why I liked E.T. I like E.T. I felt fuzzy. It was nice. Okay, and then I watched Psycho Goreman, which again, this happened to me so many times this month. I liked the movie. I liked the movie a lot. I did not love it as much as everyone else in the world did, and I feel like my brain is broken. Psycho Goreman is about these 2 young siblings who find this like magic rock or gem or stone. It's been a little while since I watched it. They find a magic something and they unleash Psycho Goreman onto the world. He's this evil, like world-destroying monster, but he then has to fall under the power of this little girl Mimi because she has the magic rock, gem, stone. It's fun and it's silly and it's really gory. It's all the things that I like. I didn't have a problem with it. I don't know, man. My brain is broken. Brain worms. Brain rot. Okay, not horror. I watched Adventureland, which is a comedy starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart, pre-Twilight, I think. But it's about these young college graduates who work at a theme park, and there's romance, and there's deceit, and there's laughs all along the way. It's cute. It's fun. If you like that, give it a shot. Okay, and then similarly, I watched The Brothers Solomon. which is a movie about Will Arnett and Will Forte, who play brothers whose dad is dying, and they want to find a surrogate mother to give birth to a baby to, I don't remember why, I think to like give their dad something to look forward to so he'll come out of his coma. I don't remember why, but they want a baby for their dying dad. It's so stupid. I don't even know if I liked it some of the time. I laughed. It's like the weirdest movie I've ever seen, so I give it major props for that. And I certainly laughed a lot. So if you like weird, stupid comedies, maybe watch The Brothers Solomon. I don't want to endorse this for anyone. Don't put that on me. Okay, also not horror, but I watched Minari, and I was a weeping mess by the end of this movie. I lost all my inhibitions. I cried so much. It's really, really good. It's just a really warm, really tender movie. It's like a comfort movie already, even though I've watched it one time and it very recently came out. The performances, the cinematography, the music, everything, it's beautiful. It's very slow, very slice of life. So if you are more of an action-packed kind of movie watcher, maybe you won't like it so much, but I think the consensus is Minari is a very good movie. All right, and then I watched Sometimes They Come Back, which I'm not going to talk too much about because this is part of my Stephen King movie marathon I've been embarking on for the past year. I didn't love it. I am hoping to one day make a video ranking all of the Stephen King movie adaptations, so I won't give away all my thoughts right now. But this was your most stereotypical Stephen King thing. There was a car that was alive, there were greasers, there were dead brothers. It was just every Stephen King story mushed up into one, but not in a good way. I watched The Evil Dead again, which I did watch last month, but I watched it again with my mom this month to write an article about it for Nightmare on Film Street. I liked it even more this time. It was another The Lost Boys experience. I had even more fun. I think because the first time I watched it in the background while I was doing work and doing other stuff, and this time I was just sitting and watching it with my mom, and it was a great time. This movie rocks. And then I watched The Last Blockbuster, which, assuming if you're watching this, you're the same kind of movie nerd as I am. It was really sweet. It was really nice. It made me want to go to a movie rental store so bad. I don't think I even have one near me. There's an adult film store near me, but that's not what I mean. And then for St. Patrick's Day, I watched Jennifer's Body, because for St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate the Irish, and I'm Irish, and I wanted to watch Jennifer's Body. This is another one of my favorite movies. It makes me feel so good. I feel so strong, I feel empowered, I feel happy, I feel sexy when I watch this movie. I love Jennifer's Body. It is such a rush. As we all know, it suffered from terrible marketing when it came out, and it is now much more appreciated for the incredible movie that it is. It stars Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried as best friends, and Megan Fox, who plays Jennifer, gets turned into a succubus, and Amanda Seyfried has to stop her from killing all the boys in school. And although this is not outright a rape revenge movie, I view it in that way, and it's my favorite of the genre, hands down. Okay, and then I didn't do this on purpose, but the next day I watched All Cheerleaders Die, which is a very good companion piece to Jennifer's Body. It was also so not what I expected. Actually, you know what? I don't know what I expected, but it was not this. It's about high school cheerleaders and witches and witchy shit. I don't want to give anything away. There's an accident, and then the cheerleaders want to take revenge on the people who caused that accident, and they do it in their own way. Oh, the title is All Cheerleaders Die, so that's not a spoiler. Okay, moving on. And then I watched Super 8, which is a movie I saw in theaters when it came out in, 2011? 10 years ago. I saw this movie in theaters 10 years ago, and I remember really liking it then, and then it just fell off my radar until March 18th. And it's so good. It holds up incredibly well. I can't stop thinking, though, how pissed off J.J. Abrams and the rest of the team must have been when Stranger Things came out. Are you kidding me? The audacity of those Duffer Brothers. I do love Stranger Things, but that had to hurt. But if you aren't familiar with either one of those properties, Super 8 is about this group of kids, and they're filming for this little zombie movie that they're making, which is very cute. And they witness this crazy train accident. and they find this mysterious cube and bring it home. And it unleashes sort of chaos about the town. It very much scratches that sort of like Spielberg nostalgia itch that I often find myself having. And it's really great. It's really good. Justice for Super 8. The next movie I watched was Slacks, which is a movie I was looking forward to for a very long time. It's about a pair of killer jeans, and the jeans kill people in the mall. It is gorgeous. It is perfect. It's under an hour and a half. Very funny. There's no reason for you to not be watching Slacks. And it also has like really intelligent, really worthwhile commentary at the heart of it, which is not what I was expecting from a Killer Jeans movie. But definitely watch it. I highly recommend it. Okay, more Stephen King. I watched Dreamcatcher, which is a bananas movie, man. Oh, to quote the movie itself, Jesus Christ bananas. These people talk like space aliens. Like, I can totally see where it'd be very like cutesy Stephen King kitschy writing, and you're reading it and you're like, oh, haha, that's a funny guy. But to hear a person speak like that aloud, unbearable. But Dreamcatcher is about a group of childhood friends who are now grown-ups, and they go on this trip in the cabin to honor one of their other friends, Duddits. Oh, Duddits. And then there's like aliens coming out of people's butts. There's like rashes. There's Morgan Freeman in a helicopter. I'll let you figure it out on your own if you decide you want to watch it. Dreamcatcher. It's on HBO Max. Okay, but you know what's worse than Dreamcatcher? DeadCon. DeadCon is a movie about YouTubers at a convention at like a haunted hotel where there's ghosts that kill them. Some of the acting's really good and funny, and I wasn't prepared for that. But trash doo-doo garbage movie. Then I watched John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch, which, if you're unfamiliar, is like a children's special, kind of, that comedian John Mulaney made. There's a lot of songs in it. There's a lot of life lessons about fears and growing up. It's great. I think it's wonderful. Something that like should have been stupid and bad, but it's just really lovely. And speaking of stupid, then I watched Superbad, which is one of my favorite, I like to call them like bro comedies. Like, they're the movies that like guys always ask you if you've watched, and you always say yes because you don't want to have to watch the movie with them. But Superbad is actually a very good movie. I think it's hilarious. It's one of those movies I like more and more every time I watch it, because sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and you want to laugh. And this movie is excellent for that. Oh, okay, I'm gonna be brief about this because it's not horror, although I have an argument that it very much is horror. But I watched Sound of Metal, which I immediately gave 5 stars. I think this movie is really outstanding and really special. I hope it sweeps the Oscars. I know it probably won't, but I hope it wins every fucking award. I haven't stopped thinking about it for a day since I watched it. It is beautiful. It's haunting. I think everyone should watch it. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. And real quick, just in case you're not familiar, Sound of Metal is about this heavy metal drummer played by Riz Ahmed, who is fucking fantastic in this movie. And he very suddenly loses his hearing, and the movie's about him coming to terms with and grappling with this new life he has in front of him. Obviously, I love it. It's great. Go watch Sound of Metal. Then I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music, which was one of my top 5 movies of last year. I think it was like my 3rd favorite movie of the year. It's the 3rd movie in the Bill and Ted franchise. It's about them much older now, and they have to write a song that unites the universe. And by gosh, I think they just might do it. But I love Bill and Ted. If you like Bill and Ted, you have already watched this and you love it, so moving on. Ooh, okay, then I watched Hard Candy, which is a movie I've heard about for a very long time. I never watched, but it stars Elliot Page, and he plays this teenage girl who lures in men on online chat rooms and, without spoiling anything, sort of gives them the business. I liked it a lot. It's creepy, it's fun, I guess you could say. Ooh, it's a little fun. And just really well done, with really incredible performances by Elliot, and Patrick Wilson is in this movie, which I did not know. He is the man, as you may have been able to guess, and they just work really well together. It's fun. It's kind of fun to watch. All right, then I watched Cell, which will be included on the future Stephen King video I make if I figure out how to not make it 2 hours long. Cell, we all know Cell is bad. Cell phones turn people into zombies and they start killing each other, and it's Samuel L. Jackson and who is that? John Cusack? Yeah, and John Cusack. It is bad. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, but that's an argument for another day. And more Stephen King, I watched The Dark Half, which I liked a lot more than The Cell. It's about this writer who has this kind of alternate persona, kind of like Stephen King and Richard Bachman, but his persona kind of comes to life and is, let's say, he's the dark half. He's a bad guy, bad dude. But yeah, this one was fun and cool, and if you're a King fan, I recommend it. Right, next I watched Kong Skull Island in preparation for Godzilla vs. Kong. I love the big monkey. He's big, he's loud, he's scary. This one I really didn't care about the people characters at all. I just thought, I mean, how can you compete with a giant ape? You're not going to be as interesting when you're standing next to King Kong. Then I watched The Ruins, which was kind of a surprise for me. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I just sort of put it on as background noise, but then there were some things I couldn't look away from. But it's about a group of teens who go on vacation and they start exploring these Mayan ruins, and they get themselves into a pretty sticky situation over there. It's a lot of fun. Okay, bringing the mood down, I watched Game of Death, something I just found on a whim on Shudder, so I put it on. I didn't like this at all. I'm so sorry to these actors. I did not like the things that they did. Which is a shame, because the opening sequence, the title sequence, is really cool and really stylized, but then the movie was woof. Next, I watched Violation, which is a very heavy movie. It's another new release on Shudder, about a woman who goes through an awful experience. I'm sure you can guess what, given the name, and she seeks out a little bit of revenge. You know the story. Yeah, it's a super well done movie, super slow and like a disjointed kind of storyline. So you kind of gotta keep your wits about you with this one. But yeah, it's heavy, it's gross, it's kind of what you get with movies like this. Then I watched Last Shift, which was a big surprise for me. I hardly want to say anything about it because I watched it knowing nothing about it at all, and I had a great time, and I think that's really the best way to watch this movie. But in the vaguest possible terms, it's about this rookie cop, and it's her first night on the force. I don't know what you call it. I'm not a cop. But basically she has to stay in this old abandoned station overnight. And doesn't that sound spooky? It is. It's very spooky. All right, then I watched The Shining, but not that Shining. I watched the Shining miniseries from 1997, which was another one where it's not as bad as people say it is. It's not good. I didn't need to watch 6 hours of it, but I did. And it's fine. I did like the portrayal of Jack in this adaptation more because you really have the time to see him be a loving husband and a loving father. So when he switches like that, it's a lot more like, it takes you aback more. But it's, it's not as good as The Shining. It's not. Okay, don't even get me started, but I finally finished Twin Peaks: The Return. This is a whole other video in and of itself. I love Twin Peaks. I cried so very much watching the last few episodes. Twin Peaks, it's just in its own universe. It's great. It's untouchable. My brain completely turned into pudding after I watched it. I will never be the same in this post-Twin Peaks life I live now. Some more rapid-fire Stephen King. I watched Quicksilver Highway. It was so bad, I don't remember what happened in the movie. Oh, that's a lie. It's like a two-parter. I remember what happened in the first part. There's like this surgeon and his hands turn evil and he can't control his hands. I do not remember what happens in the second part of this movie. I watched it like 3 days ago. Then I watched Desperation, which was somehow worse than Quicksilver Highway. I liked it even less than that piece of shit. Yeah, this one was weird and got very Jesus-y, and I have nothing against that. It just really smacks you in the face out of left field. I don't know where all that came from. Started out pretty cool though. If you watch the beginning, it's a little fun. But yeah, this like crooked cop locks up these people in this jail cell, and there's something very wrong in this town. You don't need to watch it. I paid $3 to watch it. I'll tell you all about it in my Stephen King video. And then I watched Hot Rod again. I cannot stress enough, this is one of my favorite movies. It will be coming up in probably every one of these videos I do. It is my ultimate comfort movie. It's hilarious. If you haven't watched it since the last video, here's your monthly reminder to watch Hot Rod. And right back to Stephen King, I watched The Tommyknockers. That's right, I watched all of it on purpose. But no, seriously, I liked this one a whole lot more than I thought I would, and a whole lot more than I think a lot of people do. Because from what I've heard, I thought this was just gonna be trash garbage. But it was very like classic Stephen King in a way that is so cozy and comforting if you're me. And it wasn't bad. It's about a small town in Maine, and it's a real ensemble piece. There's a lot of characters, and there's this alien sort of substance that appears in the town. So yeah, the people in the town start acting up, and it's up to one man to stop them, because he has a metal plate in his head, so he stays the same. Don't worry about it, it's the Tommyknockers. Okay, then I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I think I liked a little bit more than Kong Skull Island. This one, I liked the human characters a lot more than Kong Skull Island, so that kind of bumped up the whole movie for me. Millie Bobby Brown is really great in this movie. She did a really good job in this movie. I was happy to see that. But what else is there to say? It's Godzilla. He's big, he's tearing shit up. I couldn't ask for more. My God, okay, I watched The Happening. I watched The Happening because I was using it in an article I was writing, but I had never watched the movie, and I didn't want to be a big dumb liar, so I watched it. You guys, what happened with this movie? What the happening to this movie? It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie where all the plants in the northeastern part of America go evil and they make people kill themselves, which, when I say it, that sounds really cool and creepy. It's not done well at all. The beginning of this movie tricks you though, because the beginning is really cool and you're like, oh shit, buckle up. But like, the dialogue is like not how any human person speaks, and just the way they react to situations is like, it's almost like it's supposed to be like a campy comedy, but it isn't at all. Nobody's on the same page. It's madness. Although I did pay money to rent it on Amazon, and now it's free on Prime this month. So if you want to spend a couple hours doing that, go ahead and watch it. See if you can figure out what happened with this movie. If you figure it out, please tell me. And then for that same article, I watched Altered States, which I fucking loved. I loved this movie, and I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know it's another Ken Russell film, who was the director of The Devils. I didn't even know that till after. But on reflection, oh, does that make sense? This is a movie about a research scientist, and he's looking into different states of consciousness. So he does a bunch of drugs and tries to access alternate planes, and I think he succeeds. I think we all succeed. It's super weird, super well acted, and like really beautifully written, which I wasn't anticipating at all. I was like, oh, weird drug movie. And it certainly is that, but it's also a lot more. But also definitely another one to go in knowing as little as possible. I think it'll be really rewarding if you can stick with it. And then more Stephen King, I rewatched Children of the Corn, which I watched probably around this time last year, and I didn't like it very much. And I know there's people out there who love Children of the Corn, so I thought I'd watch it again and see what I had missed the first time, but I didn't really like it that much. I find it kind of boring, which is sad, because this is another one where the opening scene is so fucking cool. It's all these kids murdering grown-ups. It's really cool, it's really scary, it's really well done, and then that energy is just missing from the rest of the movie, and it's just a lot of driving through corn and like kind of clunky dialogue. I don't know. To be fair though, I haven't fully paid attention either time I've watched this movie because I get kind of bored and I check out. But you know, I gave it a shot. I gave it 2 shots. It's not for me. Sorry, Steven. And then the last movie I watched this month, I watched it last night with the rest of the world, is Godzilla vs. Kong. This movie was everything I wanted it to be. I was out of my seat being my bed. I was out of my bed cheering, pumping my fists, cheering respectfully. I do have a roommate. It was kind of late at night, so it was a lot of like, wow, you know, but I love it when big monsters punch each other in the face. It's exhilarating. I feel alive. Thank you, Godzilla vs. Kong. Really, really great. And a lot of the hot takes I've been reading today are people being like, the human scenes were unbearable. I couldn't even watch them. And like, yeah, they were a lot more boring than the monsters punching each other in the face, but you know, they weren't that bad. They were capable. And they were hardly in it at all. Like, this movie is primarily monsters doing monster shit. And that's all I wanted from it. And it delivered. So, that is everything I watched this month. I hope this video is under 45 minutes. I'm not very good at editing myself. I do have a personal goal to watch less movies next month, because this was just embarrassing. But hopefully you got some new things to add to your watch list. Let me know what your favorite thing you watched in the month of March was, or your least favorite thing. We can be negative. It's a tough world out there. It's good to let that negativity out. But thank you for sticking around this long if you managed to. God bless you. Here's to another month of watching movies. Hopefully a little less than 55 movies. That's a bit, I gotta reel it in. But thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to do this again in 30 days. Bye!